Hey guys, today we're building the gate for the fence, all right? Stay tuned. Hey guys, good morning. Raining outside, you know, on cue. It's Saturday, so yeah, screw it. We're in we're in the shop right now, and we're going to build the gate here for the fence. All right, so this is the rough cut layout of the fence. All right, so of the gate. So what we have here, we have two 2x6, 2x4, and two 2x4 for each side. All right. Now the reason I say rough cut is I just roughed them up so that I can dimension my lumber. All right, so this is a step that you need to take if you're going to do joinery and those kinds of things in wood. All right, because you can never tell if the wood is going to be, you know, the same thickness, the same width, the same everything. And when you do joinery, not that I'm going to do super difficult joinery. I'm going to do floating tenons, and I'll show you that in a minute. But if the wood is not square and it's not dimensionally equal across, you know, you're never going to have good success. You know, your joint's going to look like crap, and then you're not going to know why. And that's why, because if you don't start with good lumber, you're going to have a problem. And for me, it's pretty crucial here because this is pressure treated lumber, and that kind of lumber is not meant to do fine joinery and things like that, you know, to assemble a nice looking gate. So that's even more critical that I dimension this. You know, as you can see, the grain is raised. You know, there's all sorts of issue with pressure treated lumber because, I mean, it's meant for roughing out a structure, not for finished carpentry. All right, so let's pull out the planer and start running these boards through. All right. All right, so now that the boards have been surfaced, all right, as you can see now, everything is nice and tight. All right, so all the boards are exactly the same thickness. Now, the last step in dimensioning them is going to be to cut them to the right width. All right, and I'm going to rip them on my table saw. So the first thing I'm going to want to do here is remove one edge and then of all the boards, and then I'm going to flip them around and make the final dimension after that. All right. So those are for the 6s. I'm just going to take the width of a saw blade. All right. So this is the worst. So you see I'm inspecting each side. This is the worst of the two. All right. So I'm going to take the worst, the good one first. That way I can take whatever I need to take to get it to its final dimension, you know, with the second cut. All right, so the reason we take the time to do this now is because, you know, we want to have nice square wood, all right, to start our project, all right? Because if I put two boards one next to the other, you know, and I'm seeing a gap between them, you know, it's no good, right? So now let's put it back together and let's lay it out again. I squared that end up on all the three boards that are going to make the horizontal member. Now I want them all to be exactly the same size. So I'm going to put a block here, okay, and make sure that we are spot on, and then I'm just going to repeat the cut with the other two boards, all right. All right, so now my three horizontal member are exactly the same size, so I can do my final layout here to draw my, to dig my pockets out and everything that I need to get things kind of finished here. All right, so this one at the bottom. All right, and it's nice to see all the joint being really tight because of the dimensioning of all the wood that we did. All right, so the little bit of extra work that we had to do, you know, is well worth it now that we're, you know, in the layout phase, right? So now I've laid it all out, all right, and put reference lines everywhere, okay, so that I know what the top of my 2x6 is going to be here at the bottom, my 2x4 here, the 24-inch from the bottom, and where the top 2x6, which is going to get rounded, so I'll show you that in a second here. Good, so now I can lay out the joints, all right, and the joints, so what we're trying to do here, in the field here, what we call the field in the middle of the gate here, that's going to be filled with half-inch pressure treated board, all right, so completely filled. I'm going to put a design in the middle, you know. The top is going to stay, there's 4-inch here, so we'll see what that ends up being filled with. The designer is still out on that. So let's lay out the joints. All right, so we're going to join the boards with biscuits, all right, plates, plate jointer, whatever you want to call it, all right. So the way it works is that there's a blade, a round blade in it, all right, that you can clearly see here. So we put a little reference mark on both boards, okay, on both sides of the joint you want to join, and then come in from one side and the other, and it will slit, make a perfect slit for a little biscuit. All right, so these are beech wood, I believe they are, compressed, so as soon as you put glue in it, they expand a little bit and make a really tight joint. All right, so before I go do all of them, all right, so it goes like that, all right, and then matches up with the other one to give you a nice little joint, all right. Now, as you can see, I put it really close to the top here because I'm going to put another one at the bottom to make sure that, you know, it's nice and tight and solid. It's a gate after all, right? So there's going to be a lot of movement going on. All right, so I marked all the joint to make sure that we're not gonna mix them up. All right, now I'm gonna flip the assembly around and do it on the other side, all right? So in order to do that, I have to have the same line on both sides of the board. So I'm just gonna flip one around. All right, so I've set up my router table here with a 1/2-inch bit because I need to route a dado inside the field here so that I can inset the boards that are gonna fill it up, all right? The reason I'm using this router bit here is that I have to make stop dado, meaning that I want the dado to just be on the board here. This one I can run through without any problem, but this particular one here, I have to start it here and run it all the way here, but stop and not go any further. Okay, and that's why I'm doing, you know, this this method here. All right, so in order, you know, I did my best to center the bit here in the middle. All right, but it may not be like exactly in the middle. And so I'm not having any trouble. I'm going to reference the same face of the gate on the fence, all right? So that with respect to one face of the gate, the depth is going to be, the depth of the dado is going to be the same all around, all right? So the way I'm going to do that is by using the letters that I wrote before and make sure that they're on the fence, all right? So in this particular case here, I'm going to drop right here and then move it, again remembering that the letters are on this side. Now, because it's completely blind, you know, there's no good place for the chips to go, all right? That's also why I didn't hook up the vacuum here, because there's no point, because all the chips are staying in the pocket here, all right? For these members, I'm going to still reference the letter on the side, all right? But I'm going to make sure that, well, but this one is going right through, all right? So I dry assembled the gate, all right? And I did that so I could find the center line, okay? And anchor this scrap piece of wood there so that I can define my radius here, okay, for the top that's going to be rounded, all right? So what I also did, I put a hole in the middle of the board that will fit my pencil here, okay? And now all I have to do is move it along and draw my curve. All right. And I'm going to take that board now on my bandsaw, and I'm going to cut it on the bandsaw. All right, so I'm back in the dry assembly here, okay? What I did, I took 1x6 and I planed it down to 1/2 inch, okay, so that it fits in my dado, all right? So, all right. So now what I have to do is figure out how long they are. I'm going to cut them on the chop saw and then dry fit everything, okay? So the dado is just over 1/2 inch deep. All right, so now all I have to do is take this distance and add 1 inch. And I'll be all set. All right. So 15.5, 16.5 is my distance. So I lost my battery, so sorry to bring you back here in the middle of something here, but all right. So let me explain to you what's going on. What we're trying to do here is create a, you know, the top or the space in between here to make it look like the fence a little bit, all right? Actually get it to remind you of the fence. So what I did here is I laid out a couple of little, you know, basically the pattern of my fence, right? Which is 2 short, 1 long, 2 short, 1 long, right? So pictures, right? Okay. So we thought that having this pattern in the space, in the empty space here, would be really looking good, right? So it's not exactly the pattern, but it is very close. All right. So the problem I had is that I had to secure them somehow. Okay. So basically, I laid them out, and I, used my little block that you saw me use before. So what I did is I laid them out like that, and this, and all the way down the line. All right. And I marked the middle of each one of the little picket here, right? So that I can drill a pocket hole, not a pocket hole, a dowel hole, all right? Makes it really easy with a little dowel tool machine. All right, I'll put the link in the description, to get one. The cool thing about this tool is that if you can see, as you turn it, right, one side basically it keeps the center portion here completely in the middle of the whatever it squeezes, all right? Because one screw goes one way and the other one goes the other way. So as you can clearly see, it gets, to the middle. And so what you do is that you have little sleeve here that come with it, okay? And these are for different size dowel. So what I did is I was able, with the middle line here, to put it in my machine here, okay? And you align, I don't know if you can see here, but in the middle there's a little white line. And when you align it like that, you can drill from the top here and get a perfectly centered dowel. And that's what I did, okay, on all of them. What I also did is cut my dowel a little bit so that I can fit those things on without too much trouble. As you can see, it fits pretty nifty, okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to just go to the sander here and just get these guys ready to be glued in, all right? So I'm going to sand them now just because I want to remove all of the pencil mark and everything from them, all right? So that's going to be pretty simple, with this thing. All right, so yesterday I finished the glue up of the sub-assembly here for the top. So let's get rid of all the clamps here so I can show you. All right, so here it is. All right, so it looks or reminds us of the fence itself, with the two short, one long, although we don't see the little tip of the two long ones, but it's a reminder, right? It's not meant to be the same. Top is curved and all of that. All right, let's do the final glue up. All right, final assembly. We're going to glue all of our biscuits. For final assembly, actually for all the assembly, I'm using Tide Bond 3, which is waterproof and it's meant for exterior use. So that should give me ample protection, all right? So first thing you do, every single biscuit gets glue. Now assembly. What is important at this stage of the game here is that you do not want to get those the panel glued up, all right? Because essentially the thickness of it and all of that is going to make it just all wood will do that, right? But the wood will expand and contract with the change in humidity. And since this is an outside project, that's going to happen more than if it was a piece of furniture, right? So what we're trying to do here is make sure that we're letting those panels float. So this is where I'm going to use clamp pressure to tighten all the joints up. All right. When I glue up with pipe clamps, I always make sure to put, you know, some on both sides, you know, because the tension on the joint will raise on the side of the clamp, obviously. So by putting the other one, it equalizes the pressure. All right. Now we're setting it aside to dry. Hey guys, so while this one is drying out, the little fence for the little gate for the fence, I need to build another one here for my garden. And this one's going to be a little bit different in that it's going to be a panel, and again, picture here of where it goes. So it's just going to be a flat panel with braces and a Z support. All right, so very simple to build. Okay. So this is my rough layout. Not exactly what I want, but it's close. All right. As you can see, I'm going to have a cutout with this inlay there, this applique, whatever. It's a laser cut metal art, right? So as you can see, I have 7 boards here, right? And my center is really right here if I'm looking at the way this is going to all happen up there. So I need to take one of those boards and rip it to a size so that I can equal, you know, the middle, right? So let's do that now. All right, so I've laid this out, cut the holes on my bandsaw, and this is the hole that's going to take our applique there, all right? One of the things, if you look at the design again, you know, it's that this type of fence only has 2 stringers, you know, going across, okay? So up here I'm going to have a problem, otherwise I'm going to have to put a stringer because these 2 are loose. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cheat again, and I've put some biscuit mark and put this, you know, a biscuit in between, you know, these boards, okay? So I'm going to glue them, and then I'm going to finish the putting the stringers on. All right, let's do that now. All right, so I'm just doing that to tighten up the joint here. All right, and since this fence is not going to take really any weight on top of these two boards here, it's going to be solid enough to support the 2 boards, because that's all it really needs. So what I did there, I created stringers, okay, out of a 2x3, 2x4 actually, okay, if you can see. And what I, you know, so that it looks like one solid member, but I split it in 2 on my table saw. That way I can put it on each side of the gate here, all right? So I have one under, one on top, and I'm going to screw through both of them with a couple of screws per board, all right? Let's do this again, but over here, all right? So I'm going to bring you closer on this side of the table so that you can see what's going on. All right, so here's my 2x4 that I ripped in 2. I'm going to put one under and the other one's going to go over. Like so. All right, so what I want to do now is take dimension, because as you see with the picture here, there's definitely, this one should go much higher, but it would go over my hole here. Okay, so I have to take that into consideration. All right, so I'm going to put it 20. So let's put it at 21 from the top. So right here. Transfer it here. 21. I think that's a good reveal down here. It's going to match what's up here, or it's going to be close. All right, so now what I need to do is align the two boards. And here, in order for me to not wrestle with it too much, let me just put that underneath here, so that way I'll be able to move everything without too much to do. Well, we're screwing both sides together. All right, so now the last thing I have to do to support this fence here is to put a Z-brace on it, all right? The reason Z-brace are important is because they take, you know, the way the hinges are going to fit, okay? They're going to fit on this side, okay? If the Z is going to be like this, they're going to fit on this side, so that if the door wants to sag, it's going to transfer the force through this board, through this to this other member here, other hinge, okay? So that way it's compression, all right? And that will keep the door from, you know, getting all bent out of shape. This is just, you've seen that, that's a traditional type of treatment, right? So what we have to do now is cut it. In order to cut it, I'm going to just take this here, make a mark here, okay, from the corner to this. So if I flip it over, I have to take the line from here to it, right? So that's what I need to do. That's what I need to cut. All right, so the last detail I have to do here is to put a trim piece at the top. Again, if you look at the picture, you're going to see that the top is trimmed with a piece, all right? So I'm going to rip this scrap piece that I have here, okay? 1.5, obviously it's stock, 2 by stock, all right? So 1.5 by 1.5, and that's going to, and I'm going to mill the, you know, the part out of that. All right, first thing I have to do now is to groove a 3/4 inch channel in the middle. And I'm going to do that by, again, using this, but I'm going to do multiple passes, all right? So what I want to do here is just about, you know, eyeball my depth, okay? And start it at 3/8 from the side. You know, why 3/8? Because 3/8 plus 3/8 is 3/4. 3/4 groove is 1.5. Okay, that's why I do that. So I'm going to start at 3/8, and I'm going to do one groove, and then I'm going to move my fence the width of the blade and do that multiple times. All right. All right, so the second door is all done, you know, and then we're going to have this little, nice little applique over this, all right, which is going to make, you know, the fence look whimsical a little bit, you know, what we want in our garden, all right. So I'm not going to hang this one just yet, even though it's done. I want it to dry a little bit because it's pressure treated wood, right? It's very heavy. And it's going on 5x5 PVC vinyl fence, right? So I think it's going to be too heavy for it right now. So, but if I let it dry, you know, a couple of weeks, that should, you know, go a long way. All right, guys, so I bought this hinge and latch kit from Amazon. The link is in the description. Pretty heavy duty, you know, with a nice little kind of design there that kind of goes with the fence and everything. All right, comes with heavy duty hardware as well, so you know, the screws and everything. Comes with a handle, which I'm not going to use on this project, okay, but when I went to my local hardware store, just the 2 hinges without any of these they were $15 for the pair, never mind this and this. So the price that Amazon gives us for this thing is pretty good. All right, so what I want to do is take the hinge and mount it here and mount it here, okay, in the middle of the 2 members here. That will provide me with the structural strength here. So the gate is an inch narrower than the size of the opening. So what I want to do is take that 1/2 inch barrel here, and I would really want it to be kind of hanging, all right? As you can see, it's kind of, you know, we could do it like this, all right? Which means that all I have to do is fix this, and then when we get it back up, it's going to be fine. The reason this is a good idea to use the hinge like that is because that forces the hinge to be totally parallel to the side, all right, and won't bind or do anything, all right. So that's the first thing I want to do here is do this. So I'm going to take my driver here with screw, center it real well, and fix it, all right. Let's put the other 2. All right, and I'm not letting it spin too much because I don't want to ruin all the thread that it created, but as you can see that it's all nice and flat. Okay, let's put the other one. Now the other one is not going to be in the middle as I hope it would be, because the hinge is a little taller and it would basically be close to the ground if I did that. Although it's going to be an inch over, I think I'm going to just raise it up a little bit here, okay, to give it a little bit of clearance. All right. All right. Cool. Now another thing I'm going to do here to help me out, okay, because I want the spacing to be consistent. I have, if you recall when we milled those panels here, they were 1/2 inch thick, right? So I'm going to take them, or take a, you know, a scrap piece here, and put it, and just nail it here on the side here. Now what that's going to allow me to do is just rest the fence or the gate directly on the post, and that way everything is going to be spaced correctly, right? Now just so that you know, they're flush to the front here, because if they weren't, the door wouldn't be able to open, you know, without taking them off. All right, so this is the proper way to put them. All right, let's put it on the post there. All right, so here we are. So what I did here, I put a 2x3, a 2x4 here at the bottom, just to raise the fence up enough. And I know what you're going to say, this is 1.5 inch and the 1 inch for the rabbit. What's going to happen is that you see how those stones are much lower than the face of the grass here. So I'm going to raise that up a little bit, but I'm going to do that later. All right. So all I want to do here, you see how the spacers are helping us here. They're all nice and tight, exactly where I need them to be. So let's just put them in place, right? Cool. So now we're going to put the latch on. The way this works here, okay, is that there's this little I don't know, metal cage here, and you see that there's a pin here. What you want to do is put it at the bottom so that when it comes in contact with the latch here, you see how there's a little slope here that puts it up. So what we want to do, we want to have the pin be able to freely move up, okay, and not have to worry about about binding. So you put it at the bottom and then just all right, good. And now for the latch itself, make sure it's in the right position, right, because it can slip around. Now what I'm going to do here is put it on and just raise it slightly here so that I know that when it's going to come out, okay, it's it's going to be able to catch and come up the ramp. You know what I'm saying? All right. All right, cool. Gate is installed. All right, guys, so last step in finishing the fence is going to be to put those decorative tops on, all right? And that's why I didn't cut any of the posts yet, because they have a depth here, all right, okay, that they fit over. And I wanted to make sure before I cut the posts that everything would be all lining up correctly, all right? So I wanted my fence there, I wanted the post there. So what I want right now is to make this about here, okay, to leave it like maybe half an inch of distance in between. So this means that from this point here, I want to be able to put the height of them, which is going to be, what is it? 1 3/8. So that's pretty deep here. So at 1 3/8, okay, let's do this way. So 1 3/8 from here. Means that I have to cut my post at this height right here. I'm going to transfer that line all around, okay, so it corresponds basically to the bottom here. Okay, so I think it's going to be just fine. All right, cool. Let me transfer the line all around and then cut it. All right, so this is going to be my final product, all right? So now, again, because the horizontal members are level, all I'm going to do now is take that dimension, all right, which is 7.5, and transfer it to all the other 4 and cut it there. All right, and the last thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to put a couple of nails from the top to secure them, and that's going to be it. No glue, no nothing. If they rot out or anything, they get damaged, pop them out, put some more in. Everything's going to be perfect, all right? All right, finished. So yeah, it's a little bit more complicated of a project if you don't have the proper tools and everything, because machining wood is not necessarily easy if you don't have a planer and a jointer. All right, so but if you do have those things, you know, as you can see, even with garbage wood, you can say, you know, you can make something pretty decent. All right. I know it looks a little bit lighter in tone than the fence. That's simply because, and it's the same for the caps here, it's been sanded and machined, right? So that first coat has been taken off. So that will even up in due time here, all right? If you like what you saw, guys, give me a like. Hope it helps you, and we'll see you, you know, in the next time. All right, thank you. Bye.